Harlem has a heritage rich with culture and history. Occupying a chunk of Upper Manhattan, these city blocks had a profound effect on music, fashion, dance, food, and more. During the month of August, the local community is celebrating this iconic neighborhood. Pix 11 takes a look at what makes this neighborhood a cultural destination with a Pix 11 social media center special, Celebrating Harlem.
Hey everybody, hope you're having a fantastic day and thanks for joining us for our special Celebrating Harlem. I'm Dan Manarino.
Glad you could join us. I'm Betty Nguyen. You know, people from around the world know Harlem as a neighborhood with trendy eateries, hip bars, and a flavor unlike anywhere else.
Yeah, you know, the food, the fashion, the dancing, these are just some ways that people in this community are really showing their Harlem pride.
And speaking of dancing, many renowned dance troupes got their start there. So did you know that some styles of the street dance, from Happy Feet to Lindy Hop, actually started on the streets of Harlem?
Good to know. Well, in fact, dance has always been at the heart of the culture uptown. Pix 11's Ayanna Harry with the story now of Harlem's long history of some fancy footwork.
Harlem, New York, a destination known for style and for footwork. Dance has been at the heart of the culture uptown, dating all the way back to the Harlem Renaissance.
We're actually standing in front of what used to be the Savoy Ballroom.
Starting in the 1920s on Lenox Avenue, the Savoy Ballroom was more than just a place to party.
You had to have on a suit, you had to have on a tie, you had to be dressed to the nines.
Everyone was welcome at the Savoy.
They had a no discrimination policy.
As long as you could really dance.
People would challenge each other.
Styles from swing to Happy Feet and Lindy Hop all started on the streets of Harlem. They were refined at the Savoy Ballroom and later shined in Hollywood.
Lindy Hop began to travel all over the world, even back then.
And it came from Harlem.
It came from Harlem, yeah.
The Savoy closed its doors in the 1950s. A decade later, a new chapter of dance uptown was born.
Arthur Mitchell provided a space for dancers of color that back in the 60s it was unheard of doing classical ballet.
This is the Dance Theater of Harlem. For the last 50 years, they've developed hundreds of careers, shattering color barriers in ballet.
One of the myths was that black bodies were not suited for classical ballet.
As they traveled around the country, founder Arthur Mitchell always kept an eye out for new talent.
I started when I was 10 years old in Chicago.
Here in their Harlem studios, dancers were given the time and attention they needed to flourish. And that nurturing continues today.
Keep the same feeling while moving forward. Keep moving forward with eyes on the past as well.
Harlem is still on the cutting edge of dance trends. Now it's all about keeping it light.
The Harlem Shake predates Light Feet, and it's the beginning of that energy, and it trickles on down to dances like the Tone Wop, Chicken Noodle Soup, Bad One, and Aunt Jackie.
Harlem native Crybaby Cozy is one of the creators of Light Feet.
What makes Light Feet unique is the energy.
It's about skill, talent, and creativity.
So you have all this movement that you do before, and the culmination, you drive the nail with a lock-in.
New dancers are finding their way to Light Feet, like Kid Break.
Dancing is important to me because it makes me feel happy.
And 9-year-old Taylor.
I feel free when I do my moves.
From uptown to the international stage, keeping the culture moving forward. In Harlem, Ayanna Harry, Pix 11 News.
Pretty awesome story
Yeah.
there. They certainly know how to dance. I'm going to leave it to them because I am not good on the dance floor.
I can vouch for that. All right, next up, Jennifer Bisram takes a look at a Harlem group that is not only helping people get in shape, but giving them motivation in so many key moments of their lives.
Welcome to Monday Night Run!
Straight out of Harlem.
Good job.
Harlem Run, a group that has been taking leaps towards their health and their community since 2013.
I've had a pretty rough upbringing in regards to battling with, alcoholism and depression, and joining Harlem Run. I've met a lot of people who had similar life experiences.
Jesse Luriano is one of over 200 members of the group. He was looking for a little motivation when he joined. Today he says he's back on track and even training for a marathon.
Harlem Run changed my life. I mean, without them, I'd still be running the streets, man, with no sense of knowledge of how to cope with the issues I've had.
And he's not the only one. Lisa Rivera has been with Harlem Run for over 4 years.
I think the community is what keeps me around, the people, the energy.
On this day, these Harlemites gathered at Marcus Garvey Park, where they meet every Monday, and ran several miles to Yankee Stadium and back. One mom even had her baby in a stroller with her as she sprinted on city streets.
They believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself.
And this area in the park where the group meets every Monday is now called Harlem Run Plaza. It's a recognition that was given to the group by city leaders late last year.
Harlem Run, it's not just another running group. We literally are a movement in the community. We're trying to make changes in the community through fitness. There is literally a place for all abilities here, and we never turn anyone away. We never leave anyone behind.
And their small steps are making big strides in their community. They have partnerships with other Harlem-grown organizations like Harlem United and the Harlem Boys and Girls Club to support those who are homeless, those who are living with HIV and mental health illnesses, and those from the LGBTQ community.
I never thought about myself being in the forefront in making change in my neighborhood, and Harlem Run has instilled me with the confidence and the ability to be a leader and to help change Harlem.
Let's go 11, let's go 11, let's go, let's go.
In Harlem, Jennifer Bisram, Pix 11 News.
I don't know about you, Dan, but all this running makes me hungry.
I am starving, which is a good reason to transition to OG, who is showing us one of the latest additions to Harlem's bevy of restaurants because there's so many to choose from.
Indeed, and to find these mouthwatering treats, she is taking us to Field Trip.
Don't you mean she's taking us on a field trip?
No, Dan. The restaurant's name is Field Trip, and if you're a fan of rice, check this out.
Outside, it's Harlem, but step inside and...
Well, come in, welcome to Field Trip.
Well, this trip is one for your taste buds.
If I had a mic, I'd drop it.
At his new restaurant, Field Trip, Chef J.J. Johnson has created a food experience to transport customers around the world. No passport necessary, just a fork and knife.
The inspiration is based off of one ingredient, rice. And that everywhere in the world, everybody's grown up on rice.
This is amazing. I have never seen a menu like this different.
We use 5 different rices. So we use a Texas brown rice, black China rice, sticky rice from Laos, basmati, like real basmati, and then the original white rice, which is Carolina Gold.
So do we cover all the continents with your rice?
Close. This is where the magic happens.
Chef JJ's journey began at home.
Boom. I got started cooking in my grandmother's kitchen. She injected food into my DNA.
That passion for cooking has taken him from the Culinary Institute of America to authoring his first cookbook, Between Harlem and Heaven, now to opening his very own restaurant.
Why do you think it had to be Harlem?
Well, Harlem, for me, cooking at the Cecil for 5 years, that community uplifted me and made me who I am today.
And JJ is bringing a whole lot of flavor to the neighborhood.
The rices in the rice bowl dictate the flavors. A lot of rices in the bowl, those places I've traveled to. This is our beef bowl. It has braised brisket, spicy black beans, wok vegetables, and Texas brown rice. Here we have is our quinoa bao buns with avocado and mozzarella cheese and our yuca puffs. Our roasted shrimp with sticky coconut rice, some green curry, and coconut flakes on top. The veggie bowl, which is the jollof basmati, is a mashup of India and West Africa. My style of jollof is Ghanaian, because I've been to Ghana. I know you're Nigerian and we don't need to have beef.
He says this to a Nigerian, how dare you.
Not only is rice culture, it's also behind a major rivalry.
That's what I know how to cook. When Nigerian jollof is good, Senegalese jollof is good.
See, you're bringing more players into this game, and it's totally unnecessary.
I'll let him win this rice war, but he did say a trip to Nigeria is next on his list. So I'll be looking forward to that next on the menu.
I'll see you in Nigeria.
Ojineka Obiekwe, Pix 11 News.
That's one of the things that's so great about New York. You know, it's the worldwide cuisine. You can sample anything on any corner.
Yeah, your taste buds can travel all across the world and, you know, never even leave New York.
But if you're going to travel, you should do it in style. Pix 11's Armin Chaudhary takes us to a shop that's really making some of the finest headwear in Harlem.
And it's one of the last homemade hat makers in New York.
Hat season has arrived.
March, April, May, and June. Easter, Mother's Day, Kentucky Derby.
High-end hats steal the show every year at the Central Park Conservancy Luncheon. and the Polo Classic at Liberty State Park. More than likely, those hats were designed by Harlem's very own Yvette Petty.
Welcome to Harlem's Heaven Hat Shop.
This shop on the corner of 147th Street in Harlem for nearly 3 decades is filled to the brim with headpieces.
We are really trying to keep the art of handmade hats alive.
From trendy fascinators to hand-painted headwear, there's a look for every occasion.
I do Vogue, but I also do the deaconesses and the officers in the church.
Milliners are people who design hats by hand. Yvette is one of the few in New York City, making sure that every stitch, every stone, every fold, and every flower is crafted with care.
It's hard to even describe how much fun it is.
Hats started out as a hobby for this designer who studied fashion marketing at FIT.
It doesn't really even feel like a job.
That hobby blossoming into an international business, attracting stylists for TV shows like the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, runway shows and magazine covers including Vogue and Harper's Bazaar.
A hat it's an important accessory.
Whether it's high fashion or Sunday service, Yvette has one thing in mind with her hats.
I'm here to make you feel pretty and make you feel good.
And kudos to her for keeping her business going for over 30 years.
And you know, so many small shops are having problems competing with big corporations, and really trying to get new small businesses off the ground can be extra challenging for minority communities.
Yeah, but help is on the way as Pix 11's Katie Corrado introduces us to a young entrepreneur who is putting his money where his mouth is by investing in minority and woman-owned businesses in Harlem.
After reading John's bio, I said I needed to be here today.
My name is John Henry. At 21, I sold my first business. Since then, I've been advising diverse entrepreneurs.
I do watch his show on YouTube, Hustle.
All entrepreneurs who built a great business, they dared big.
Whether he's in a boardroom or a classroom, John Henry has a clear message.
I'm not trying to look hood rich, I'm trying to make the hood rich. And I just feel like if we all contribute to the same neighborhood that we came from, there's no way it won't be a better place.
He started making money moves at 18 years old when he opened an on-demand dry cleaning service.
That 500 square foot space, people will have no idea what transpired there.
Now, at 26, this Dominican American is putting his money where his heart is. He's investing in minority and women-owned businesses alongside his partners at Harlem Capital.
Everything is uptown, so that's why my heart's always there, and it's a blessing to be able to invest.
John Henry, who once worked as a doorman, is passionate about paving the way for others.
Opening up doors for people, open up doors for me. I have the opportunity now to help build up the same neighborhoods that I came from and keep all those dollars circulating in our own hoods.
When he's not inspiring the next generation of entrepreneurs, he's mentoring business owners on his popular Viceland show, appropriately titled Hustle.
I do think that if you carve out the right lane and the right white space in this, macro trend, that you could be very, very successful.
John Henry's hustle doesn't stop there. Aside from owning a real estate business, he also runs a nonprofit incubator, Co-Found Harlem, aimed at growing businesses north of 96th Street.
A lot of times resources don't flow in our neighborhoods, and a lot of times we might live there but go downtown to spend, go elsewhere to spend, and I feel like uptown has the real human capital.
How important is it to hear from people like John who come from similar beginnings?
So here you have a young man who navigated a system that many would argue that wasn't created for him.
It's very overwhelming and choked up a little bit emotional because it's that could be you.
John Henry is truly spreading the wealth.
We need dough to grow.
You're not lacking resources, you're lacking resourcefulness.
Reinvesting in Harlem, uptown, it means everything to me. It's what I'm in this game for.
In Harlem, Katie Corrado, Pix 11 News.
And we thank Katie Corrado for such an inspiring story.
Yeah, he's doing such great work at such a young age.
As they always say, the youth is our future. We'd be nothing without them.
Absolutely. And what better way to end our program than a look at how the Boys and Girls Club in Harlem is opening up new avenues for inner city kids.
We need to create spaces where kids are going to be able to be themselves.
Laughter and learning go hand in hand at the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain this to my friends. They would just have to come here because
Because it's so much fun.
Yeah. This community safe haven, which has been around since the 80s, recently got an upgrade. The new 10,000 square foot clubhouse is home to a teen center and a digital media lab where young people get to play with a purpose.
Nothing's better than spending time with your friends, and at the same time you're learning cool stuff.
The Boys and Girls Club of Harlem recently unveiled their brand new Disney Center of Innovation, which gives kids access to technology like this state-of-the-art 3D printer.
We want kids to learn science, technology, engineering, and math, and not just for that STEM sake, but really because we want them to be prepared for 21st century learning opportunities. We also want to make sure that it has the appropriate rigor so that they can ultimately compete. Because at the end of the day, it's about making sure that kids are at the same stage, at the same level, so that they'll be able to kind of negotiate opportunities on their own.
The club operates 5 sites across Harlem with a small group of dedicated staffers who become more like family.
I like to bring a sense of kind of big brotherness to them, kind of still have fun with them, but if I see that they're making the wrong choices, you know, I got to lead them in the right direction.
These programs expose the youth to a world beyond what they are used to seeing.
Some of our kids, you know, they've not left Harlem. Some kids may not have even left the block. So we want them to feel that they have agency in New York City and can go uptown, downtown, go to the Met.
I went to Ground with Google. That was really fun. We got to do Scratch. It's like a coding game. We saw this thing. It was this thing. It was like a schedule, but when you turned it on, it would like flip really fast and it would say Google in different colors.
Harlem's rich history is also highlighted.
Many of them don't know that P.T. Barnum's house is right up the street. They don't realize Alexander Hamilton's house is close by until we take them there and talk to them about it. So it makes all these things come alive, seem very real for them.
And that wraps up our Celebrating Harlem special today. Now I'm ready to head uptown and check out some of these great places.
Yeah, let's go eat. Hey, we hope you really enjoyed these pieces that we've shared with you. For more New York's very own stories, don't forget you can always check us out on TV and online. For now, everybody, I'm Dan Manarino.
And I'm Betty Nguyen. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.